Hey, it's Terrie Carr, and thanks for checking out my web series. I bring in the artists and we chat, new artist classics and everyone in between. In this episode, Josh Katz from Badflower joins me to talk about Paws, the tribute song to his dog Maggie, the band's new album No Place Like Home, and his inspirations that contribute to his artistry. Let's go. So I'm with Josh Katz from Badflower. I am so happy to see you. You've always been so awesome. Whenever I interview you, if I have Rosie barking in the background, you are just always so like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I remember I had you and Alex on the tour bus and she was really having one of her wild Rosie days. And I said, my dog. And you're like, you guys are like, we don't care. And that's when I knew I loved you. And that's long before I heard Pause. And we wanted to express our condolences over Maggie. What an emotional time for you. And I was just going to tell you off, but I figured I would save it. So we're in a very unique situation in terrestrial radio because everything we get is a visceral, like live reaction. So I'll play something and someone I've never heard from before, listening to my radio station, maybe for the first time, will hit me up. So I have a whole like column of emails about Paws. And I was going to read you some of them. And I started to like filter through because I just went through my subject line of Pause. And I realized I'll never get through this. And maybe you would not too. So I don't think that's a good idea. But just letting you know the reaction of people to this song has just been like one I've never seen in my years of radio.
Wow, that means a lot. I actually that you don't have to read them. We've all done enough crying. You don't have to read them.
Yeah.
But it's actually that it feels really good to hear that people care enough to say something and to tell their stories. I think that's always the best. My experience with this job so far is that something is really good, or I feel good at least putting something out when people don't just say I like this song, but they have to tell the whole story about what the song means to them. And that's when you know that's you're beyond just like making background noise, which that's all I aspire to do, is make something that isn't just background noise.
I've gotten memes, that are in, things about the Rainbow Bridge. And the great part about this is it's people that are in their teens, it's people that are 20s, it's people that are 50s, it's men, it's women. It's like it's not just for one pocket of a Badflower fan. It's people that are your biggest fans. I can think of people that I know that are your biggest fans that listen to my radio station, that follow you everywhere. And then all of a sudden, God, I'm getting familiar with this band. I'm getting familiar with the rest of the material that they have put out. And wow, this song has had such an impact on me. So, I mean, look, you just mentioned job. It's never seems like a job to you because you're so invested in it, but job well done on this one. And we're getting a full record, by the way, No Place Like Home on June 20th. It's funny because when I had you and Alex on last time, it was really cool because he's like, I want to make an album. And you're like, nah, we're just tossing out singles, baby. And I talk about that on the air all the time. And the Badflower fans will get on me. Well, the album's coming out, the album's coming out. I go, I know, but I just love that Josh was like, no, we're doing tunes. And Alex is like, no, I want the sequencing. I want the storytelling. I want the artwork. I want all of it. So I love that about you guys. And I think we kind of got both because we're getting a whole bunch of songs and then eventually they're going to be one record.
Yeah, but you know that if there's an album coming, because there's an album coming, that Josh lost.
I can never picture you losing, though. That's the best part
you know
about
what?
it.
Me neither. That's what makes it so hard.
Yeah,
I didn't know I was capable of losing. It doesn't feel good.
No, because you're, and I love that because we have so few people these days that are fighters for the artwork. If you like look behind me, I've got some Prince back here and I've got some Bowie back. Actually, I have you guys right behind me there.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, there's you guys right next to Metallica. But I have people behind me that inspire me that have been, the fighters. I got my Bowie shirt on, the fighters for the artwork, Bowie yelling at MTV, you guys don't play any black artists. What's wrong with you people? And, those people that have always been the fighters for what they think makes for great art. And I see you as one of those people. You're so open. Pause, a beautiful song, very anthemic. And I think that for you to open yourself up like that all the time, I'm somebody who, I'm not going to lie, I run from emotion. I will avoid it at all cost. I'm not a crier. I'm a big mouth. But I am not someone who's comfortable with emotion. So to see all of what you've put into your artwork and into your songs, I mean, I'm in awe of that. I marvel at that.
Thank you. You know what I've noticed about me with emotion is I actually run from it too, unless it's secondhand. And that's why there's something about writing songs where I can write something about something that's personal to me. Maybe in the moment I wasn't feeling the emotion about it, but then when I write the song about it, it feels like this secondhand feeling now where the song makes me emotional. I'm tying it back to this thing, but it's like I cry in movies. I'll cry in every movie. But if something in real life happens to me that happened to this character in the movie, probably won't cry.
But see, that's
It's
good for
it's
you because
it's
how
only
how
when
do
I'm
you
watching
perform?
it.
How would you perform these songs? How could you
Yeah.
get out there, every night? I was thinking about that when I first heard Pause, and I'm like, this is going to be like the song of the tour. We've got two dates coming, by the way. We've got Atlantic City date with 311. That date is June 20th. And then we've got you on the 29th at Pier 17 in New York, which is a phenomenal. Oh,
Oh, we are doing Pier 17?
I have you on that, I think.
Sick.
Yeah. I hope you're
I was
doing that.
telling my girlfriend about that venue and how cool it is, and
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
have the
know that we were
311
playing
dates.
it.
So,
Oh, well,
I
I don't know anything. That's
yeah,
great. I
so
can't wait.
that's the venue that I was planning on coming to because I just love looking at everything around that venue. But
Yeah.
so I was thinking about that. I was like, oh man, how is he going to do Pause? Because that's going to be a show. That's going to be a showstopper. That's going to be one where the fans want to hear it, and you're going to look out into that crowd, and you're going to see people getting emotional. So this is going to be a little bit of, I would imagine, a little bit of a tough nut.
Well, I'll tell you this, not to toot my own horn here, but
Toot,
Play,
please. I want
playing
you to toot.
playing a song that makes the crowd emotional is like my bread and butter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's all I've done my whole career. I've never had any
yeah,
other experience. So I'm actually very much excited about that.
yeah.
Uh, However, yeah, there are times, sometimes I'll catch someone's eye in the crowd who's really feeling it, and then it'll hit me and I'll realize what experience they're having
Yeah.
in that moment with it, and I can't get through it.
Yeah, that's got to
Uh,
be like a bolt of lightning that goes through you.
Yeah, it doesn't happen that often. I think because you go on tour and you go on this autopilot mode. It's just the way it works. Um, but sometimes it does, and it's interesting because it doesn't matter how much time has gone by. Like it'll still happen with Ghost. We've been playing Ghost forever, but sometimes I'll lock eyes with a certain person who's going through a certain thing or who already went through it. You could just see it. They're having that experience right there in that moment. They're having that experience, and I'm like, oh man, I just did that to that person. For better or for worse, I put them there. Um, Usually it's a good thing. It's a cathartic, good feeling, but it'll put me in that place, and then that person ruins the show for everybody because I can't sing the next lyric because I'm like choking on it. Um,
We
yeah,
need a
but
bad flower
it does
like book
happen.
or something, ruining the show in a good way. And all
Yeah,
of your experiences of ruining the show in a good way. We're getting 13 tracks on this new collection. 13 tracks. That's a big story.
unreal. I
Yeah.
can't believe that we allowed 13 tracks to not go in the garbage. That's so cool.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Let's like I'm looking at the track listing, and although I haven't heard all of them, is there a common thread that kind of moves through the record or no?
Uh, there is, there is, yeah, but I think there is kind of. It's not like a concept album. There's a theme, but I don't think not all the singles have that theme necessarily. Well, actually, that's not true. There is a theme.
Yeah, I because I'm
Yeah,
looking at the track listing,
there is
like
a common thread for
No
sure.
Place Like Home, and then you're kind of going into London and Story of Our Lives, and then Detroit, and then we get to the Pause, section, which is track 10,
Mhm.
and then at the end is Butterfly. It just seems like there would almost be a running, almost like a
Yeah,
little bit of a running theme
yeah,
together.
yeah. There is for sure. There is.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So, um, I've often marveled at you talking about, I got to get back out on the road or I got to get back out and do something because I could just be in the house with animals all the time. And
Mm.
you told me that last time. I think last time we spoke, we talked about the dogs, but there was also some cats that had taken up residence at as
When
at
did when did we last when did we last speak?
we last spoke probably Detroit time, maybe. So it was, I think it was Casa de Cats was becoming, you know, Casa de Cats, for
Yeah,
lack of a
that's
better
fine.
phrase.
But we got these ones.
Yeah. Wow.
Those four.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've seen you in
Well,
on social and everything. So what is it about the connection that we have? Look, I have this connection too. I've likened it to only child syndrome for myself because I was always bringing home animals and I just felt that real connection with animals stronger than I felt maybe with people at times. What is it for you? Because you've said, look, I got to get myself out of bed some days because I'd just rather be home with the animals and sometimes it's tougher than not. What has it been about that connection for you?
I got to tell you first that since we last spoke, there are now 6 new kittens.
Those kittens are lucky kittens. They are
6.
lucky little kittens, man.
Yeah, and I'm keeping all of them.
You are. Of course you are.
So I really am a crazy cat lady now. I have a lot.
You are.
Uh, yeah, I like them a lot. Animals don't judge you. I think that's really all there is to it. Like you can just be exactly who you are and they just don't judge you. They just love you. That's it. Or they
That's
hate
that
you, but they're like they know what
magical
they want.
connection and they're very
Yeah.
authentic. They're very honest.
Yeah, that's
There's
it. That's it. They're authentic. That's the word. And I find too many people are not, including myself around other people. But I am my most authentic self when I'm around my animals, and they are authentic back at me, and it's a perfect unity.
Yeah, that's funny. I feel the same way. I'll be taking
Yeah.
a picture with an animal and I feel like I look like 50 times better. And I'll be like, the pictures I'm always in with like a rescue dog or a shelter dog or helping out a local shelter. I always like photograph so much better. And I think there's just something that kind of comes out.
Are you trying to say that the dog looks like shit, and it's like
No, I think
just balances
I think
out?
I look like it, and the dog makes me look better. Actually, the dog is way cuter, and I think I'm cuter. Um,
Your dog right now is having the best time being in that position. In this, this is like
she
she is
loves
so
being in the
happy to be right
Zoom,
where
man.
she
She
is.
loves like meeting the artists and being in the Zoom. And I just felt like I wanted to clutch her a little bit closer, because I was in your position not too long ago, and I lost two in about a year and a half. And I swear to God, it changes you. There's something that changes you forever for everyone that you lose. And that was a really, really tough year and a half for me. I felt like I wasn't going to come out of it. And so I wanted to clutch her a little bit closer today because I knew that you and I would be having this conversation. And Paws meant so much to me. I mean, just so much to me when it came out. And I think it's a beautiful way to remember, a best friend that you had for 16 years. I followed her all over with you. Your soul dog. You get soul dogs in your lifetime. This one
Yeah.
is mine. And you get your soul dog, and she was your merch model, and she was your touring partner, and she was a best friend, and she was everything to you. And I don't think that there's anything that you could have done for her more fantastic than immortalizing her in a song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Will I see you on the pier? I hope I will.
Yeah, I'm so glad we're doing that. I truly didn't think that we were, and I'm so happy to hear that we are.
I'm excited. I'll bring some dogs and cats out.
Please,
And
please
maybe
do.
you can take the rest of them home. June 20th, we get No Place Like Home. Josh, it's always such a pleasure to catch up with you. You're one of my favorite people to talk to. Thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you.
some time. Love
Of
you.
course. Thank you. Love you too. Anytime.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
Josh.